All right. So hopefully I haven't clicked on anything. So I'm about to share something with you guys that I just don't share very often. Um, Mostly for like my own personal reasons, but I just don't share it. I don't know. So I'm gonna throw this link in the live session chat. I'm also gonna put it in the mentor session recording chat. That way, people that are not here today can always go and get it. Um, I'm gonna ask you guys like for some trust and don't share that link outside of the Discord, please. This is my own personal Google Drive, and I don't really want like a bunch of people downloading stuff from my Google Drive, if that makes sense. Um, so I'll show you guys what this is that I just shared the link for. It's going to be Trader Dale's order flow pack. So like if you might have looked at. Sorry, I'm trying to find. Um, so where is it? Here we go. So he has this. Oh gosh, I really wish they didn't do that. He has this book on order flow, right? Which deals with footprints and also with like the price ladder, um, bid and ask, stuff like that. Um, and the book is pretty cheap, whatever it is, like $10. What I just shared with you guys is this here. So that course I just shared is normally $500, and I guess there's a part of me that feels bad because Trader Dale's a pretty cool guy, but the basically I it's one of two things. I'm going to teach it to you guys, and it's literally directly from what I learned from him. Um, but I think better than me teaching it to you guys is having you guys watch the videos, and then we as a group can go and basically dissect it piece by piece. What I'm going to say though is when you do this video course, you can basically ignore the indicator section. You can ignore the Ninja Trader section. You can ignore order flow software. And then you'll want to watch trading setups. So part 3, part 4, part 5, part 6. Um, Part 7, you don't need this as volume profile. And then, I mean, you can watch this like volume profile, how to find strong supports and resistance. But really, you're going to want to watch part 3 through part 6. And basically, from there, we're going to dissect it and break it down and cover it as a group. I would prefer, like, if we have more people speaking when we do that. And that way, we can talk about, like just basically so people are asking questions. So it's not just me talking, which gets really old. So anyway, that's what this is. Okay, I'm going to close this now. And then this here is our TPO. I mean, sorry, our order flow or footprints, right? So that's what you're going to be basically learning about. And then I want to show you guys how to get this onto your charts. So this is going to be for people. Actually, I should say this before I move forward. Um, Sorry, bear with me for a second. If you do, like some people might like Ninja Trader, right? And if you do like Ninja Trader, then you could even. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Wild. I am dumb. Welcome, everybody. Let's start over. I mean, I was sharing it on YouTube, just not to you guys. And it's late at night. I'm tired. Give me a break. So let's backtrack really quickly. Um, this makes things a little bit more complicated. Okay. So this is what I shared with you guys. Um, this is what I was talking about. This is the regular price, right? Um, and I'm saying you can ignore indicators, you can ignore NinjaTrader, you can ignore order flow software. The only exception to that would be if you like NinjaTrader and you want to use NinjaTrader, then you would need to go to Trader Dale's website and order this so that you can get your indicators for NinjaTrader. Okay. If you want to go the way that I go, which is using Quantower, then I'm going to show you guys how to set this up on your charts. Okay. I'm just going to do a really quick review, basically, of what you're looking at. Today, I'm not going to be doing a bunch of teaching on on footprints or order flow. We're just going to do a quick, like overview kind of thing. So on the left-hand side here, this is my daily volume profile, which you guys are familiar with. On the right-hand side here, this is my daily delta, right? And so if we click on left profile, you can see it's volume, full view, today, and it's enabled, right? And then this yellow line here would be my developing POC. This over here is going to be my delta for the day. Today and yesterday. Delta, full view, show POC, enabled, right? And then the same thing, this would be my POC for delta. And these are really cool because like you can just look at delta and kind of get an idea. Like right here, I would not be surprised to see them bounce in this area right here, like 436-ish. Because we have a really big delta node right there that I would not be surprised to see them bounce from. Obviously, being below the POC is kind of scary because that would be like more on the bearish side, and you really want to be above the POC, to be thinking more bearish. I mean, more bullish. But, depending on how things look when we come down to here, I wouldn't kind of hesitate to look for a reversal. This also gives you our imbalances, which we talked about a little bit last time, I think. So like if we look at this one here, so right at the beginning of a trend, right, we have triple zeros, which means there was no sellers and basically 16 buyers, 35 buyers, which created a buy-side imbalance, right? And when we talked about this last time, we mentioned like you want to see this at the beginning of a trend. I mean, you can't get any more at the beginning of a trend than this. And so if price comes back down on NQ at least to this 21,420 level, like you would want to be buying long, okay? Another thing really quickly, just talking about the Quantower software. I think what I'm about to share with you guys would be like my one pet peeve with Quantower, which is, here, I'll kind of show you guys. So like if I highlight this candle and I change the size here to 1 or to just 0, nothing will happen. But if I click over here, then I'll start seeing every single order, right, of 1 or more contracts. If I change my size again to like 2, then that's going to filter the number of contracts that I see. but it will only do that for the current candle when it's highlighted. And so now like you're seeing orders come in, and then I think if I move my chart, they vanish, right? So like it's a little bit frustrating. I would like to just be able to select a candle and see every order over whatever size, but it is what it is. Like this, it still works well. Um, it's just um, it would be way better if you were able to see the large orders just by clicking on whatever candle it is you want to look at. Um, but again, like if you put this on nothing, you'll see just tons of orders coming in over and over and over again. Um, During the daytime, like regular trading hours, I have NQ set to orders of 10 or more. On ES, I have it set to orders of 10 or more as well. I will say, um, like if we look at today's open, I think, where is it? I'm just going to show you guys this really. I haven't even looked at it, but I already know what it's going to do. There's going to be a bunch of zeros at the bottom. So this is our open. Maybe there isn't a bunch of zeros at the bottom. On ES, there will be. This is today, right? Let me just grab ES so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. Oh. Where is 6:30? Again, I haven't looked at this, so I could be wrong, but um, technically, well, no, there's just 1 0 at the bottom. Oh well. What I was gonna say is if you see like 3 zeros in a row, it's pretty safe to just slap buy. If you see like 5 in a row, like don't even blink, just click buy. Or if it's at the top, you see 5 zeros in a row at the top, just click sell. You will make money and you'll thank me. um, unless you're slow. Anyway, so like I said, I hadn't looked at it, so I am wrong. There wasn't a bunch of zeros, but there is a finished auction here. But again, anytime you see like a bunch of zeros, you'll generally get like a crazy like 100-point move on NQ. um, so what I wanted to show you guys really quickly, and then we'll get into like reviewing trades and whatever else. This is just a quick overview. I would recommend, like you guys watch as many chapters as you want of that Trader Dale pack, but I would recommend at least watching the first, whatever it is, like chapter 3, which is probably what we'll be reviewing next week. I think next week, yeah, I'll have more free time next week, so we'll try to do like 2 sessions next week and, just cover more information. Hopefully everybody is doing well with volume profile and TPO. And if you're not, don't start implementing this into your trading. Just stick with volume profile and TPO until you feel like you're doing better. What I'm also going to give you guys so if you're using Quantower, right? You go to whatever your install folder is, and then you're going to go to settings, templates, and I'm going to give you mine, which you just import this, like literally just drag it into this folder here, Quantower settings templates. And once you've done that, it won't work if you have Quantower open when you put it there. But once you've put that into, and I'm going to put this in the mentor session recording chat. So it's posted there. You just download that. You click the down arrow. Here, let me just show you guys just in case you don't know. So you just click this down arrow and it'll download it. Okay. Um, Once you do that, you're going to go to that folder that I told you and you're going to drop it in there. And once you've done that, up here on Quantower on this top bar, you just right click and you go down to apply template and then you choose that one. And you could rename it if you don't want it to say Drew, you can rename it to footprints or whatever you want. Um, but you click that and then it will import this onto your charts. So it looks exactly the same as mine. Okay. Um, that's going to be it for talking about footprints today. Um, but like I said, we'll get into it more um, next week. So start watching those videos that way, because I feel like it's a lot of information. But rewatch those or watch those videos, and then we'll cover it as a group and start dissecting it and going through it, and hopefully having a discussion and not just me talking about it. Okay. With that said, I'll share the TPO settings because it's a whole thing. Okay. All right. So now, I guess I'm just going to review trades. Today's a great day. Like, if you if you have questions or whatever, if you want to hop on the stage and talk, today I have a lot of times. Um, Sorry, I'm just reading all the messages right now about people saying they can't see my screen. People are saying they can't hear me.
I
Oh,
can hear you.
can hear me. Okay, sorry, I'm reading wrong now. I'm laughing because I'm reading all the messages of people saying they can't see my screen. Um,
What's
all
up,
right.
Rocket?
Hey, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
I'm good.
I have just two questions on footprints while we just covered it.
Okay.
So I've seen footprints. I don't think I'm ready, but one of the questions I did have is would footprints be something that we're looking at like live trading, not like when we're charting when the market's not open?
There are a couple of things that you want to watch for on footprints, like when you're charting. One being like the imbalances that I show. You want to be aware of those areas. And like, um, I closed my footprint chart, but let me open it really quick so I can show you instead of just talking. Um, because like when I was talking about imbalances, I was saying it's important to know, like that it's at the beginning of a trend or whether it be an uptrend or a downtrend, and we want to
Mm-hmm.
ignore imbalances that are like in the middle of a trend, um, because those ones are generally not going to be respected, and so those we ignore. So like basically when you're charting, you can chart imbalances that are at the beginning of trends, and that way which ones you're wanting to trade off of. um, so like actually let me do this. If I pull, why does it say no data?
How long did it take you until you started incorporating footprints into your trading?
I mean, like basically, I didn't know about them I didn't know they were a thing. Sorry, I don't know why I got to reload really quick. I don't know. My Quantower didn't load properly. Um, so basically, as soon as I found out what footprints were, and as soon as I understood them, I immediately like started using them. But at that point,
Nice.
I had already been trading with just volume profile for a really long time, so it was just more confluence for me. I think the one mistake that I made, and again, you guys know I'm always happy to share my mistakes as learning experiences for other people, is I started relying on them too heavily. Because, like, there's certain things about footprints that are just so accurate that, like, I started ignoring volume profile and whatever else and just trading off of footprints and delta. And you can do it like pretty decently, but when you have confluence with volume profile and then you add in your footprint charts and you trade off of levels, you know, that are like are golden, you just end up with way better results basically, rather than just trading off of footprints and delta. Like I can scalp like 5 or 10 points on ES all day long just off of footprint charts. But if I'm trying to catch bigger moves, then it's way better to use footprints as a confluence with volume profile, if that makes sense. So
Makes sense.
really quickly here, I hate trying to bring this up to this screen. You can tell I'm bringing it from a way bigger screen to a smaller screen. Um, so I'm sorry, I forgot one of your questions, but oh, actually, sorry. Now I
It,
know what it is.
it
I got
was
it.
just when you started incorporating it, and then like
Yeah.
when we could like use it and stuff, like
Yeah.
intraday trading, I guess.
So again, like when I'm charting, I want to be aware of this level, right? The next time price comes down to here, I want to be long. And I don't want to have to. I think this will make sense to you guys. Like if we're trading over here and price is approaching here, I don't want to have to do this and be like, oh, okay, yeah, this was at the beginning of an uptrend, you know, and then like come back over here and get ready to take my trade. I want to already have that information in my head or on my chart or something that I know that this, you know, I might even just make a mental note like, hey, if we revisit, you know, 21,421, I'm going to be long, right? And I already know that going into the next day, or I want to chart it in TradingView or whatever it is, like buy side imbalance, you know, at the beginning of a trend. So like you want to have that information ready before prices coming down to there. Make sense? The next one
Gotcha.
would be, this is really, I don't look at this enough and I should. The issue is it doesn't happen very often. But here's one here, I think. Oh no, this is after hours. So let me see. The issue is going to be finding one. And if I don't find one, I'll just explain it. Um, I don't look at this enough. And I should, because it's like pretty guaranteed. Um, Now I feel like I have to find one. Okay, here. So right here at this price, and then I never use, I don't use drawing tools on Quantower, so I think that's the first time I've ever drawn a line on Quantower, and I'm really proud of myself right now because I didn't know how to do it 2 seconds ago. Um, so if you see here on, I have two POCs. So um, maybe I should move this really quick. How do I delete this? Shit. I learned how to draw it. I just don't know how to delete it. So I'm going to have this line on my chart for the rest of my life.
Z.
Uh, I'm sorry, what did you say?
Did someone say Control Z?
Control Z?
Do you know what that is? Like
Nope.
Control
That
Z undo for
Oh, that
the
that worked. Okay, cool.
nice.
Oh, is that like just a regular Windows command? Nice.
Yep.
For Windows, yeah, it's like a undo. And then Control C is copy.
No, I know
Control V
that.
is paste.
I actually used to be an IT person. I should know Control Z, but I don't. Um, again, always happy to admit my downfalls, but the reason I deleted it is just so that you can see this more clearly. So on a 30-minute time frame, and we don't know like if this worked out or not. We'll look to the right and see if it did. I think it didn't, but when you have two stacked POCs like this, so these yellow lines on the candles are the POCs for like the 30-minute candle. If I change this to 5 minutes, then it would be the POC for the candle on 5 minutes, basically. Like, so anytime you have two stacked POCs, that means whoever was present there was like putting in a lot of orders, whether it be a buyer or a seller, and we don't know, and we're looking for confirmation that it's a buyer or a seller. So if I stick my line back here, there's a few things we're looking for. First of all, during regular trading hours, like the New York session, which this is, it's 8:30 a.m. and 9 a.m. my time, so that's 11:30 a.m. And 12 noon Eastern. So we have these two stacked POCs, right? Now we want to see a full body candle either open and close above this level, or a full body candle open and close below this level. Once that happens, it doesn't matter which direction. So like here, we didn't get any confirmation, right? Like this candle, well, these are our two candles we're looking at. This candle for some period of time was below the level, and then, went above, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It looks like this was our open, this is the wick, this is the close, and this was the high, right? But we spent time below. Then the very next candle, we saw what I was talking about, the 0, 0, there's a gap, and then there's a 0. So major selling pressure. When you see this, again, this is technically like 4 zeros in a row. You just slap sell. That's what I was talking about earlier. And then you can see if you did that, like, you're very happy, right? Sorry, I'm talking about two things at the same time, but now that I saw this, I have to show you guys. And so, like, when you see something like this, I would say in general on NQ, you're going to get at least a 100-point move. On ES, you'll probably get at least 30 points or 40 points. So, like, if we look, this is 21,291. So if we go down, it gave us way more than 100 points, right? It's like 150 points, yeah. But anyway, if you click sell and put like your take profit at 100 points, you would be happy, right? Anyway, back to what we were talking about, which is this, where we have these double stack POCs. Now we have this candle, which opened completely below this level, right? And closed completely below this level. So the next time price comes to here, and then also the fact that they did this just shows that this is probably like big selling happening. And, they just kept like accumulating their position, and then they dumped it, right? So this is probably larger time frame buyers, or whatever. In this case, larger time frame sellers that were loading up the boat before they dumped it. And so, again, we're looking for a candle to fully close and open below this level or above this level. Once that happens, the next time price comes to here, you would actually expect a 100-point move in the same direction. But in this case, it didn't work out. We broke through and ripped up and kept going, right? But that's just probabilities. Okay? Make sense?
That's awesome. Thank you. We learned about the POCs being stacked and then those zeros.
Yeah. It's cool that we got to see both setups there. I'm looking really quick. And just to be really clear, oh, see, and here we have 3 stacked zeros, right? And then there's zeros even happening like in this candle. And so I would expect there 100-point move down from here. And then here you have a sell side imbalance, right? That if you grabbed short here, you wouldn't have got stopped out. And it gave you, a good 30-point move from here, this imbalance down. Anyway, I'm just kind of like mumbling because this is all the exciting new stuff we're going to be going over. But like here, the triple zeros, like if you look, I don't know exactly how much they gave us. It looks like 90 points, 228-ish, down to 139. Yeah, roughly 90 points. But so these are awesome when you find them. Okay. I'm looking for more stacked POCs. And I don't remember if I mentioned it again or not, but I want to be specific. You want to find them during the regular New York Stock Exchange hours, not after hours, because they're stacked all the time, like in the overnight session and whatever else. I mean, you guys can see, like, they don't happen very often, which is why I don't spend enough time looking for them. I should check every day. It's not a lot to check, but I don't. I just don't think about it. Because when you do find them, you'll tend to catch a really nice move. I'm going to stop looking in a second here. I was hoping we would see at least one more that actually worked out,
Do you have mute background noise setting on, or like some like mute background setting on?
Oh, I think my face is too far away from my mic. Was I cutting out?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right, should be better now.
Yeah.
Let me know if the sound's not good, but it should be better now.
Yeah, it's much better.
Yeah, I can always turn up my gain as well. But the issue was my mic was like below my chin, and I was looking up at I have a monitor like above my head that I look up at, and that's why my sound was probably cutting out. All right, I'm going to stop looking now. Yeah, this is overnight session. But this does work. The issue is you only see it like maybe once or twice a month or once a week or something like that. I will say like shorty is good with these ones where it's like, they're not perfectly lined up, but they're in the same range kind of thing. But in this case, it looks like it wouldn't have worked. Like we had the full candles above and then it sliced right through. All right, yeah, I'm going to give up now. Maybe I can find some before our next session and we can kind of review them. But all right. So let's look at, now I forget who's, oh, somebody's got their hand raised. Yeah.
Evening.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, quick question. Does it matter if we're doing a 5 minutes or 30-minute candle?
So when you're looking for those stacked POCs, you want to be doing it on a 30-minute candle.
Okay. And what about the zeros?
Oh, those you can find on any time frame.
Okay. Should we also wait for the candles to close before, like, if we're setting a limit order on those zeros, or should we just like
you wouldn't
set the
click
limit?
limit. You would click market.
Oh, okay. Got it.
If you try to limit, you're not gonna get in the trade.
But should we still wait for it to the candle to close, or as soon as we see it, just get into it?
As soon as you see it.
Gotcha.
I would say watch footprints for a few days or a week or whatever. And when you see that happen, watch how price reacts and then basically make your decision based off of that.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, let's look at DZ Jones here. Yeah, I mean, I agree with why you didn't take the trade. There isn't a setup here. I mean, the take profit's good. Um, Obviously, like you can argue that it worked, but we're not using. I mean, I'll say this: I will take trades like this. So this is stopping volume, right? So we're selling, 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 and then here we have a large amount of green volume, right, with a big buying wick. When you see that, you can click buy and like generally scalp a trade or get like a decent move. But I guess I'm kind of hesitant to talk about this because this is not what I'm teaching, right? So like what we're trading off of today is very different to where we might be in 6 months from now. I hope that makes sense to everybody. There's a bunch of things that I do where I'm scalping or like I'll see like a, whatever, stopping volume like this, either side, on the bottom or on the top. If I see stopping volume like this on the top, I'll click buy and, take a little scalp to the upside. If I see stopping volume like this on the top, I'll click sell and take a little, scalp to the downside. But what we're teaching right now in the mentor group is specifically looking for good, clean A++ setups where we're trading from one level to the next. Once you've got this down, and in 6 months from now, because like I guess the main factor is like right now you guys should only be taking one trade a day. If you're taking one trade a day, you really want it to count, right? And when you're doing this for 6 months, the one trade a day, you want every single trade that you take to really count. Yeah, sometimes probabilities go against us, but sometimes it works out in our favor, right? We want to take the best possible setups that we can, and we want to catch the largest moves that we can based on levels on the chart. If we're taking trades like this where it might just be a little scalp, we're limiting ourselves to not catching a good setup because we're trying to catch a little scalp. It's just not worth it, right? It works. In 6 months from now, once you finish the one trade a day for 6 months and you decide, hey, I want to do what we were talking about, and when I see stopping volume, I'm just going to click buy, and try to catch a little whatever 8-10 point move on ES, that's fine. But today, this is not the setup that you want to look for. I will say, let's see. Yeah, this is SPY, and we're like if this was ES and you're like a point away from the previous week value area low, like that would be a good spot to get into the trade. Because again, like you have like a 1 point range above and below your level. But on SPY, I can't tell the exact level, but we're significantly above the previous week value area low. Like the wick of this candle was high enough above it that I wouldn't be saying this is a good setup for SPY, right? With that said, like, yes, after you guys finish the one trade a day, you want to, like click buy really quick on a stopping volume candle like this, go for it. Have at it. Just not the setup that you want to be looking for right now. Okay. And then obviously no complaints about the take profit. Like your previous day value area low. Awesome. That's your next level. That's where you close. Your VWAP, I would put a band around this, just an FYI. I can show it. So if you go to indicators, VWAP, volume weighted price average, right? And then double click on it. And under inputs, change this band multiplier to 0.13. And then you'll find, like, here's a perfect example. This reacted to the outer band, right? But we never made it to the center. You'll see that pretty often, right? Or even like in this case where we reacted to the outer band here and then bounced, right? And then here reacted to this inner band, or I mean the upper band, right? I mean, you don't have to, but this would just be my recommendation, right? And you'll notice if you do have this, this band around your VWAP, you'll see like reactions that you wouldn't have seen if it's just a singular line. Anyway, like this here. Okay. Ooh. All right, so hopefully all of that makes sense. Yeah, no problem. Let's look at the next ones. I think everybody else posted in the main chat or general chat. Emily, why 2 trades? This is 15 minutes. Okay. I'm trying to figure out what your exit is here. Are you still in the... Oh, you got off the stage when I'm asking you questions. You don't have to get off the stage.
Sorry, I felt like the center of attention. I trade on the 5-minute, but I just put it on the 15-minute, I guess, to make it more concise for the audience.
No, that's... I was just curious what time frame you were on, that's all. And then I was trying to figure out what your exit is here.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Okay. So then what's this entry here?
So that entry was the IBL of like the previous day that formed, because I have noticed like some good reactions to them. So
Okay.
I just did that, and to my surprise, this worked out.
No, that's...
And my target was 50%. Even though I had an idea about the ledge, but I don't know, I thought it would be extra.
Okay. Yeah, the initial balance is... the previous day's initial balance is good to trade off of. I also noticed there's an SR flip there if you draw a line. Do you see that? Right there. So like this bounced here, bounced here, bounced here, bounced here. Then we broke through, came back above, broke through, and then it's acting as resistance, resistance, resistance. Broke back above, retested. This would have been a good long here, right? Our retest. And then came back up. Here we actually sliced it. But this is, I mean, you can see like this was stopping volume, right? This is what we were just talking about. This is just a massive amount of buyers coming in. I mean, you nailed this trade. Like this is your second save.
And it was only one MES too.
That's fine
Little
though.
baby trade.
But it's more about getting the reps in and getting the confidence, right?
Yeah.
So, um, no, that's awesome. But why two trades?
Oh, because I took profit on one of them a little too early, and then I was like, you know what? Let me just let me like take the trade right now while I see like because I wanted to take it at that IBL. Like wherever I entered the second trade, that's where price action was. So pretty much exactly where I entered, and a new 15-minute candle was gonna form, I guess.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I just took it and I was like, screw it. I'm gonna risk like $10, $15 maybe.
Mm-hmm. But it's
And then I went
not,
to work.
it's not so much what you're risking. It's that you're, you're breaking. I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but if you're in here, it should be to like get better, right? And if you're trying to get better, it should be like following the rules that I've laid out. And if you're breaking those rules, like you're not doing yourself any favors. I'm just letting you know.
Absolutely. I'll do
I
better.
understand what you're saying. Like if you had told me I took this, I got in long here and I accidentally closed the trade, so I immediately re-entered, I'd be like, okay, whatever, that's fine. But
I mean, it was kind of okay profit. It was like $50 or something. I was like, I'm
mhm,
happy with that. I've been taking L's.
uh-huh, it's just really like if you trust me, the one trade a day is gonna literally change your life in 6 months from now.
Okay.
And then you can take 500 trades a day if you want to after that point. Okay. I also have to tell you really quickly that I don't know why, but ever since you told me, I don't remember exactly what you said, but you were like, I was like, oh, what city do you live in? And you're like, oh, like around Burbank or something like that. I'm like, why would you be vague about the city you live in? Like, because any city in California has like whatever, or in
Because
Southern California has like 500,000 or more people. Like, it's not like I'm gonna come and find you.
oh, not it was not for you whatsoever. It's because of like people like Jerry, you know. You never know who's out there and stuff.
Jerry's now a creep.
We don't know that. No one knows.
I understand, but you specifically named him.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, awesome trades. Wait, what did I just do?
I'll keep it up and I'll keep like actually right after I trade journal because especially with the long weekend, I don't remember anything.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll do better. I'll check in next class
Sorry, I
and I
want to
won't
pop
lie.
your trades back up again really quick. Oh, actually, that's good to know. Thank you.
You know, I was even gonna never mind. Never mind.
No, go ahead. What?
But right now.
Okay. Was your target the POC or?
The target was the 50% of today's IB because as soon as I was in the play at like 6:30 a.m.
Okay.
So I was in the play for like a while up until like I don't know, whenever that was. But
Mm-hmm.
at 7:30 I saw that we were at the top of IBH and
Mm-hmm.
it kind of scared me a little bit, but it didn't look like we were going down. We didn't even test the 50%. We just took off from IBH. And
Yeah.
then I think there was a crowded high somewhere, or there was a crowded high to the left of IBH. So I knew that when we are approaching
Mm-hmm.
it, most likely we're going to break away pretty fast because they want to get away from crowded highs.
Nice. Okay. All right. Awesome. Love it.
Thank
Just don't love the two trades, but everything else is awesome. Good job. Let's look at the next. So this is going to be Alan. I really hope for the majority of people that things are starting to click. It looks like Alan's using a VWAP and then maybe is this what's it called? Colby Cheese's VWAP strategy, the larger bands. Okay. What's the risk to reward on this one, Alan? Poor Jerry. He's got a good heart.
It's funny. He's funny.
He is.
I think he's getting better too because in all his like foolishness, I'll see something serious and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, looks like he's actually like learning something.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. He's definitely putting in the work. Sorry, I just realized you wrote out a big old thing and I didn't read it, Alan. So let me read this. Okay, and it looks like you're targeting the extension bands as your exit. Not something I teach, but that's cool. I'm not going to knock it. It works. I probably would have closed at the 2 week second sig, but I mean, we're close enough, right? Um, I like your stop loss kind of almost. Um, Actually, maybe I'm just looking at something different. Let me see. What was I looking at? $79 down to 63. Nice. Yeah, I would have risked a little bit more. My stop probably would have been a little bit over 84.50. This orange line. I don't know what this orange line is, but it looks like a pretty decent um, SR flip right there. And so I would want to hide my stop behind that just a little bit. But it worked. Um, but you're risking like 4 points to make um, I'm trying to math like 16 points, I think. Um, I think I would have risked a little bit more, but that's just me personal. Um, it worked out, so everything looks good. Okay, risk 5, 18 target. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's the ratio's good. You're over 3 to 1 for sure. Um, yeah, I think I would have just put my stop a tiny bit higher, but I understand why your stop is where it is. But with where your stop is, I think you need a little bit more buffer above this orange zone, right? So you gave like a little bit of space above the orange zone. I would have gone a little bit higher at a minimum, right? Probably right around whatever this is here is where I would want my stop to be, like right there. It's kind of hard to draw a line with the mouse, but like right there ish, if not right up here. Looks like developing like Valeria High or something wouldn't be a terrible spot to have it, right around somewhere in there. But again, I'm like splitting hairs. It worked out. I would have just wanted to hide the stop a little bit more, but it's a really good trade though. Awesome. Like, I guess if I'm splitting hairs on your stop loss, like, there's just nothing else to critique. Like, it's a really, really good setup, really good risk to reward. Um, it's a great trade. Love it. Let's see who's next. This will be Danny. Um, So pretty sure we're going stop loss based off of these wicks here, and giving a little buffer, right? She's not here to answer. Again, this would go back to like, what's it called? DZ Jones's entry talking about stopping volume. Not something that I've been teaching, because generally, like, it's not like a super A++ setup. Also for me, stopping volume is going to be more like what DZ shared, where, let me just pull this up really quick, where we wick down and go. We don't wick down and then buy up and then have a selling candle, wick back up, if we look here, like, this is what we're saying is stopping volume, which it looked like it was. But if it was stopping volume, then price should have kept going, right? They shouldn't have wicked back down and then had this indecisive doji candle and then had a massive red selling candle and then start buying from there, right? If it's stopping volume, then price keeps going like this. Okay. I don't love the entry based on that information. For me, stopping volume, I would have clicked buy when this candle formed, or basically like right when we broke above it, I would be buying. Once all of this happened, like, you're buying 3 candles later and you have information saying this probably isn't a good entry. It worked out in your favor. 14 points, basically risking 6. Awesome. Greater than 2 to 1. That's great. I understand where your stop loss is. I like it. I also like your take profit being basically equal to the this poor high here, right? So hopefully that makes sense for everybody. I don't know why I'm doing this. It's just triggering my OCD. All right. Next. Okay, so bloop. And then I'm pretty sure you're a speaker, bloop, if you want to. When I looked at this, initially, like, there was just a lot of things I didn't like about this. And when I say that, it's not to beat you up. But hopefully we can just learn from it, right? So you're saying these are single prints here, which, great. Oh, wait, where was your entry? Oh, you entered at the single prints mid. Okay. So for a second, I thought I was going to be wrong about what I was going to say. But what I don't like is that we set the initial balance and then we broke above it. And from there, you're entering short. The more I think about it, though, like, this is not a bad short entry. This is single prints. Because, excuse me, single print from Wednesday. Let me see. I haven't charted in so long that, like, my levels are off because I haven't been. I don't see single prints. Oh, wait, 30 minutes. My bad. Let me do this really quick. Did they put replay here so that people can't like lie that they're like live trading something? How funny. Yeah, so I think you're confused about what single prints are. So that's part of the issue. So this down here is single prints. At least right now it is. If I move forward on this replay, it might not be single prints. But if we're on the 30-minute time frame, this here, this whole section, right? So I have, actually I should do it this way. This candle and this candle are both like in the same price range. So there's nothing single happening. This is two candles in the same price range. And then here we have three candles in the same price range. Down here, this candle is all by itself. This is single prints. And we look at these in the regular trading hours, right? But that doesn't change anything because this is in the middle of the day. So I'm just trying to see here, like this here is single prints, right? Like from here to here, this is single prints. And then here we have a candle, so this is no longer single prints, right? So here up is not single prints, here down is single prints. Small area of single prints like right here. Up here at the top, we have single prints like in this range right there. Hopefully this makes sense what I'm showing you. Here, this is single prints down here. Basically all the way up to the body of this, or no, sorry. Oh no, this is the next day. So all the way up until the body of this candle, this is all single prints. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. So I think that's why that trade didn't work out. Because single prints generally, you know, we'll see like a really big rejection. Let me turn this off. And then you were saying the single prints were like up here somewhere, which I don't even see. Let me turn on initial balance again. Like there was single prints here on Thursday, but those have since been broken through as well. So I don't know if this is what you were referring to. If it is, this is single prints here from the IBH up to this body of this candle here are single prints, but they've already been cleaned up right here by this candle. So a little bit confused as to what you're looking at.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So what is the property of a single print again?
Okay,
Is
so
it the wick, the high of the wick, or the low?
you're looking at on TPO, right? So we have to turn on TPO. I mean, I don't need TPO to see these, but what you're looking at is, I mean, today is a
I
great
got it.
example. What's that?
Oh, I understand it. I see it.
So where you have like one of the periods like A, B, C, D, whatever, where there's no other candles in that time frame, right? So for instance here, this is all single prints, right? on the A period. And then we also have single prints on the B period here, right? So you can see here there's a tiny section where these two candles are overlapping, and so these are not single prints. But above the A period to the C period is all single prints. And then from the bottom of the B period down is all single prints. So this is actually like a really good example to explain single prints, because it's pretty clear, right? At least in my opinion. Here down, this candle's all by itself. There's no other candles coming down in this range. Right here, these two candles are overlapping, so this is not single prints between these. And then above that, we have single prints all the way up to the C period, right? And then if you look like the rest of the day, it's all overlapping, 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 overlapping. There's nowhere where like the candles are on their own, like making single prints. Up here, the end period, there's a tiny bit. But these are the main single prints for the day. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that felt like a stupid question once you put TPO on. I was like, oh,
No,
okay.
it's not a stupid question. A lot of people don't understand this, so I'm happy to keep covering it over and over again. I don't know, so I know in general, like I'm a good teacher, but there's some things I think I have difficulty verbalizing or communicating, and maybe it's a me problem where I'm not teaching it properly, or maybe it's just something that's a hard concept to understand. But hopefully this breaks it down a little bit and makes it a little bit easier to see.
I have one more question.
Yep.
I reviewed some of the previous videos. I watched them all and I rewatched
Mm-hmm.
some of them. I'm still having trouble understanding six and how to
Six.
set it up on my chart. Like first six, second six, third six.
Mm-hmm. Um, I don't mind going over it really quick. So, depending on what you're looking at, right? We want to be on um, extended trading hours for futures. On anything else, you want to be on regular trading hours. And then we're going to turn on session volume profile. For our daily SIGs, we're looking at 30 minutes on session volume profile, right? And it's anywhere where the best way I can explain this is like, this is my value area high, this is my value area low, right here. And then the next day, my value area gaps up huge. This is the low, this is the high. So these two are not overlapping, right? Do you see that?
Yeah, they're
Okay,
not overlapping, so they wouldn't be
exactly. And so then
considered.
these are not overlapping, these are not overlapping, and then here, finally we have a slight overlap, right? So high and low of the previous day, you can draw SIGs on these 2 days. But then these are overlapping, right? So this is slightly overlapping, this and this. So you can literally draw SIGs on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. So it's more than a week, right? But what you would do in this instance is you just grab your fixed range volume profile. And I just use TPO so it's easy to identify the days. I mean, I just use session volume profile so it's easy to identify the days, and also easy to identify where we're overlapping. And then once you've done that, you're just going to choose like the first candle of that first day, and then choose the last candle of the next day, which is there, right? Once I've done this, I turn off my session volume profile just to clean up the noise. From here, you're going to go to value area volume 68. And then everything else should be the same. row size 100, value or volume 68, value area high, value area low, POC turned on. And then this would be your first sig on the bottom. This is your first sig on the top. From here, you now go to value area volume 95. And this would be your second sig. And this is your second sig on the top. And then from there, you go to value area volume 99. And this is your third sig and third sig on the top. And basically,
Can you do this? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
And you do this for every day or weekly, or it just varies?
Any time frame where we
That
have
overlaps.
stuff overlapping, right?
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
I'm going to erase this really quick, just so I can show right now. So like if I had drawn this, my first, second, third sigs, and then this day we have a gap, I would then delete them because that's no longer
It's invalid.
it's no longer daily sigs, right? Because my days are not overlapping anymore. And then here again, we're not overlapping. So you're not always going to have sigs on your charts. But from here, like you can go to 65 minute and turn on your PVP and see like on the weekly, you know, we have these 2 weeks are overlapping. So we can draw our weekly sigs by just basically doing exactly the same thing, right? We're going to grab our fixed range volume profile. We're going to go from the first candle of, you know, that first week to the last candle of that second week or whatever it is. You know, it could be 3 weeks or whatever. But in this case, we only have 2 overlapping. Now, again, I would turn off PVP just to clean up everything. Same thing, you're going to go to 68, and that would be your first SIGs for the weekly. And then from there, you go to 95, that would be your second SIGs, and then to 99 for your third SIGs. You can do the same thing with monthly and yearly and whatever it is. So anytime you have 2 or more days overlapping value areas, you want to draw daily SIGs. Anytime you have 2 or more weeks overlapping, you want to draw your weekly SIGs. And then anytime you have 2 or more months overlapping, you want to draw your monthly SIGs. Okay?
Nice. That cleared a lot of stuff up for me. I appreciate it.
And then, sorry, I'm trying to fix my mic really quick. I can't undo this. Okay, there we go. I realized I was showing my son something on my mic and I changed the positioning of it, and I think that's why my voice is cutting in and out. So with that said, actually, sorry, bear with me, everybody. This should be better, I think. I was talking into the top of my mic instead of the side of my mic, and I'm pretty sure it picks up on the side. Okay. And then with SIGs, we're dealing with a bell curve, right? And so as long as the market is bracketed, you know, like in this 2-week range, you're going to expect, you know, like reactions, like in this case here, when price comes down to like where the second SIG would be roughly, that's where you would expect a bounce, right? You're going to see the reactions generally at the second and third SIGs, the far extreme of that bell curve, as long as we're staying in this bracket. And that's what we're looking for when we're using SIGs is, you know, we're not looking for breakouts. We're looking to stay in a range and trade the far extremes. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's see. I really hate this. Yeah, you expand it and then there's no errors. Like, A lot of times they want you to just update an indicator, and it's like, why not let me just click here and update it versus looking through here and finding one that needs to be updated. Because that little red exclamation mark like messes with my OCD. Anyway, let's look for the next trade. All right, so this one is also from Danny for you. Entered the January value low and wanted to exit at IBH2. Got stopped out. 1 MES. January very low. Here. I'm missing something because I don't see it. So like if we're entering a retest, we want to break above, have 3 5-minute candles close cleanly above that level and then retest, and we would enter long. And I don't see any candles being clean above. Like this one wicked back below, or actually this one closed below. This one wicked through and then back below. This one we went above, but it also wicked down below, and then this one went below. This is below, this is below, this is below, this is below. Or wait. The stop loss is fine. I don't see an entry. And then also, I'll just share this. Like, the only way you're getting to IBH2X is if we have a trend day. And if you look at the market, I mean, right now with like the amount of news and stuff that we're getting with Trump and whatever else, like every time he tweets, like it's causing massive moves one direction or the other. So we're having a lot more trend days than we normally would right now because of that reason. But in general, you know, trend days happen like maybe once, maybe twice a week at the most. And so targeting something like the IBH2X, you have to have a trend day to get that high. So just an FYI. I don't really target IBH2X very often based on the fact that I don't expect there to be very many trend days in a week. I wish you were here because I don't see the entry. We got to break above, clean, retest, and then go. This was the 27th. January value area low. Let's see if I have it. I don't see it. Let's see. This is 934.25. Yeah. Okay, I mean, so here we are breaking through clean and then retesting here. I don't know if this was your entry. Let me see, where's the initial balance? Yeah, and then this is your target. This is, I don't know. When I see this happen, I'm never thinking long, like anywhere up here, here. Like at some point they have to be reversing, right? I just, after a run like this, I don't even care like how good the setup is. I'm just never thinking long up here at these highs. I do see one setup, and you guys are probably going to think I'm full of crap when I say this, but from here, you know, like we broke above and then wick, and then went a little bit higher. This here is not a terrible spot. Like if you absolutely have to get into a trade, right? Like if you miss the entire morning session and you're like, oh, on any kind of a pullback, like I'm going to go long, this would not be a terrible spot to get in. I would still tell you, like, based on what we're doing here right now, based on like the mentorship type thing and where we're trying to look for only really good setups, I don't think this is a really good setup, right? I don't think thinking long up here after such a big move. So let me just kind of get some levels here. We're talking 66 points in one day on ES. And then we're thinking about trying to get another 13. Yeah, again, I don't want it to sound like I'm beating you up or anything, but I'm just never thinking long after this big of a move. I get really hesitant to trade. If I missed all of this, I'm like, they've got to reverse it, but maybe they don't. You know what I mean? So like, it becomes really iffy for me, like, because I'm immediately like, God, how high can they take this? I want to look for a reversal. But then again, what if they do keep running? It's not super likely, but it's possible, right? So like in this range up here, really the best setup I see is this here. But even then, I would probably be hesitant. I think I was watching this when it happened, actually. And, okay, no, I was not. I was at a doctor's appointment. I watched a similar setup to this, like, I think down here. But not this one. Anyway, yeah, I'm just never thinking long after like such a big move. Or the inverse, if we had a massive selling day, I'm not thinking short. You know, when we're down here after like going from here all the way down, I'm never thinking short here. And we talked about that kind of like at the beginning of the mentorship session was if you're at the value area low, you want to be kind of thinking about calls or long. And if we're at the value area high, we want to be thinking short or puts. This would be like a prime example of that. Like we're at the high of the day, right? Not really something where I'm thinking like net long. And like I said, I actually kind of get weirded out with this because like there is always a chance that they rip it higher. But more likely than not, like we either stall flat, which is what they kind of did, or we start selling off. But I hate looking for reversals on days like this where it's just been running. Because there's a chance that, you know, like let's just say I caught short here and I'm trading it down. There's a chance that this is just a pullback to go higher, right? So yeah, I would avoid this. Me personally, like, hopefully what I'm saying makes sense. I want to look for a reversal, but then I don't want to look for a reversal because I'm pretty sure that there's a chance they just give a little pullback and then run higher. But there's also a chance that they do give a reversal from here. But it's like really 50-50, like you're kind of rolling the dice. Um, and there's not really like, like a clear good winning choice, like long or short. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. I think I covered all of the setups or all of the trades that people shared. Um, I don't see anything else. Do you guys have any questions? Oh, there's a lot of chats. Whoa, let me look.
On ES, I took the previous week binary low to the PLC.
Sorry, I'm looking at bloops. Oh, okay. Your single print's like in the middle. Yeah, I kind of ignore those, but that makes sense. Um, I really just look at single prints at the top and the bottom, but the single prints in the middle do work as well. Um, yeah, I guess it just went against you. It's unfortunate. But I see what you're looking at now, if you're back. Wait, who's asking to come back on? You just raise your hand, Emily, if you want to talk. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on the chat now. JA, I do not know why you got a runtime error. No. So with TPO, right, we're using regular trading hours. We're on a 30-minute chart. And then if you look at the settings that I gave, it says so it's saying when finding levels, use 1 tick. During the day, I switched to 3. That's for ES. NQ, you're going to need 5 ticks or more. Weekly settings, you're going to need 5 on ES, and NQ will be 10 to 12. I personally just use the default because I always have issues with this. So if I change this, yeah, 1 day, manual, 3. And then I feel like it takes forever to switch. There you go. So basically, like once the day is complete, you want to be using 3. If it's like the beginning of the session, I don't know if that screenshot's not mine and what's typed is not mine. But I think the wording is weird where it's saying ticks per row when finding levels, use 1 tick. What it's saying is like as the like when the day first starts, you can use 1 tick. But as you get further into the day, you're going to want to switch to like 2 or 3 or something like that on ES. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Sorry, I'm going back to the chat. No, this is correct. You just have to, like, if you really zoom in, then you'll see the letters. Okay. This is the correct setting for looking at an entire day of TPO. So we're not. I feel like when we started the mentorship group, I told you I was going to be using like basic TPO stuff, like not getting into the really advanced stuff. Um, a lot of times, like I don't use these settings. I just leave it on default. And you guys can do whatever you want, or I leave it on auto. Um, the only issue with having it on auto is like sometimes you have to um, try to figure out like if you think it's a poor high or a single print or whatever, because it might be super close. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Any other questions? Somebody's wanting to talk. Okay.
Oops, hello again.
Hello.
Question. So,
Mm-hmm.
sorry to go backwards, but regarding the trade that I posted.
Okay, let me pull it up really quick. Hang on one second.
Thank you.
Okay.
So regarding how it broke IB, like
Mm-hmm.
maybe like a couple, like 5-10 minutes before, would that also serve as a confluence? Because like I believe I remember watching Shorty's videos where like if it fails to break IB, then it's gonna have a higher chance to go like visit the opposite end.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll try to use that plus the single print to try to maybe play that. But yeah, I
Okay.
think as you mentioned, it just kind of went away from me.
Sorry, let me pull up yours. The one that you shared that doesn't have the
TPO.
TPO on it, so I can actually see. I think. Sorry, I'm trying to find it. Okay, here we go. Sorry, bear with me, everybody. So I wish I could zoom in on this. It's like
I could paste a
let
very
me do
zoomed in
this.
picture if you like.
Let me just do this.
Cool.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I see it. Never, like it was a little bit hard for me to see. I understand now. I guess if you entered at the mid, I don't understand. But if you entered right when we crossed back inside of the IB, then I would understand. You're short. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I understand your reasoning for entering here. If we took away the initial balance, right? If this wasn't a thing, and we came up to single prints and you shorted from there, I totally understand that. But once you add in the initial balance, here you're entering above it, right? With no information that says that it might break back below. So I'm pretty sure, and when I say pretty sure, it's because I'm not 100% confident on this, but I'm pretty sure that Shorty says he wants to see 15 minutes above the IBH. And if we spend 15 minutes above, then that means that there's an 88% chance that the low of the day is set, right? Meaning that we won't revisit this. But if we aren't able to spend 15 minutes above this, And so in this case, this would be like a peak above and fail. And
Mhm.
you
He says
entered,
60 minutes.
I'm sorry, 60 minutes?
Yeah, that's what he says.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Like I said, I wasn't 100% on that. So thank you for clarifying. So 60 minutes above is called the 88% rule. Um, if we spend 60 minutes above the IBH, then there's an 88% chance that the low of the day is set and that we will not come back to here. The inverse would be if we spend 60 minutes below, then there's an 88% chance that the high of the day is set and we won't come back to here. Okay? So,
Mhm.
and then if you're, in Shorty's Discord, then, you hear him talk about like peaking above a level and failing or peaking below a level and bouncing. So like if you told me I entered when we peaked through the IBH and then fell back inside, and then you have single prints up here as confluence, I'm with you 100%.
I see.
Do you see the
I,
difference?
I just have a. I'm not sure how to order like which is more like of a higher priority of confluence, given like we have so many things in terms of like levels,
Mm-hmm.
IB levels, and then single prints and all that.
I mean, generally, the single prints that occur. Let me see if I can find like a good example for you. Um, so I'm going to stay on regular trading hours. Um, I have to look for one where, like something has happened.
Oh, cool. No, no, sorry. So the single print that I had was like roughly your October value area high to your previous week POC. That's
Yeah.
essentially the area. Yeah.
Yep. No, I saw it. Like,
Mhm.
I had myself confused basically because I have my TPO spread out. And if I do this, then I would be able to see it. Um, and then I guess I need to use the right
The ticks. Yeah.
tick size. But yeah, I guess my big thing is I'm always just, um, I know Shorty teaches, and when I say this, like it's not right or wrong. Um, he teaches the um, single prints like um, in the middle, the top, the bottom, whatever. So like
Mhm.
he would trade this. I don't really pay attention to those, and I'm just being frank. Like I don't. Um, this doesn't interest me very much. I like them down here. Um, and then I think like even this is a good example here. I don't. It's not a great example because we wick through, but like single prints, you're generally like um, I don't know why I'm not seeing a good example.
It might be because of the tick size, I think. But no, I kind of get the gist of it. You're
Uh-huh.
more of like the extremes for the single prints, like strong
Yeah,
high, strong low for the day.
yeah,
Shorty's more like single prints are like separating the ranges or value
yes,
area that's being built.
yep.
Got it.
Um, I just find in general, um, like when you have single prints like this, and you draw the like basically that whole range, and
Mhm.
then what you did, you took the mid, which is good. Like they really love to react to the midpoint for whatever
Mhm.
reason. If your single prints is just like a small range, then normally they'll go right to the very bottom or the very top. But if we have like a decent range, they'll generally go from the midpoint. But like every single one that I'm seeing is like um I mean, I guess this single print became like a SR flip. They initially came up and then rejected again and rejected again. And then it looks like they probably at some point, yeah, they didn't even give like a clean retest. Maybe this here. But yeah, generally you'll see just like a really strong reaction to single prints. And I think part of the issue too is like recently everything's so news driven that like things are not respecting things that they normally would. You know what I'm saying? So like this here should be single prints, right? Yeah, right there. And then they just wick right through it like it's nothing.
Yeah, it's a crazy one.
Yeah. But I keep seeing that just more and more recently. This looks decent, right? But even the fact that they wick through it, because like in general, if they come all the way equal to like a single print, they'll generally not wick through it and like reject right from there. I mean, in this case, it rejected, right? It gave us like um, roughly 20 points. But so that's what you're looking for is a reaction like that. Trying to see. We have single prints here. Oh, wait, is this like today? Yeah, never mind. Or another thing, like, I didn't talk about this, but the single prints can also act as like support resistance flips. So like if let's just say we have a single print here and it's a single print where it was created from a bounce, right? Oops. And then for the next day or whatever, a week later, we gap down. And then when we come back to it, a lot of times you'll see them reject from there. So you'll see single prints act as like SR flips. Oh, excuse me. They're just not giving anything about this. Did we come back to here? I don't think we did. No. Sorry, I'm not seeing anything. Like
No worries. All good.
they're the crazy thing is they're generally like so respected, and like the fact that I can't find, but it doesn't really surprise me. This is kind of like when I first started the session today, I was talking about how I've been kind of just taking a break on and off here and there for like the last month. And I feel like Shorty kind of touched on this today. Like everything is just so news driven lately where, like the TA is good and whatever else. And then they just like, like one tweet and it completely invalidates what you were seeing. So like, I guess here's an example. It's not as good as I would like, but it's an example. These are our single prints right on the bottom. And they came back into it here. They didn't even give us the mid, but they bounced almost right off the top, right? But generally, whenever you see these, you get like a really nice reaction. And then for something like this, I think, like you have to decide. Thank you.
Leave your food here.
Huh?
It's already cold.
No, thank you. I'll eat in a minute. I don't need extra.
No, it's sauce
Okay.
for your fridge.
Thank you.
Wait, could you have ate earlier?
Mm-mm. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So when you see something like this with this range, right? You just have to size down, right? Like, if you normally trade like one ES, like you might want to just go with like anywhere from 3 to 5 MES and just know. Or another thing you can do is like, let's just say you want to enter here at the far side, right? And you normally trade like a full ES contract. You could grab 2 MES here and then add another 3 MES here and then add another 5 MES down here, right? And now you have your full contract. And then, but basically you would trade it like knowing that it's possible that they go all the way to the far side of this range. And then from there, like, you figure out where you want to be stopped out kind of thing and place your stop loss based on that information, blah, 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 figure out your target, whatever it is. And then, so you can trade this way, if that makes sense. Like when you have like a large range for your single prints where you're taking smaller contracts. And I'm saying this like very specifically because you won't hear me talk about averaging down on a position very often at all. But if it's planned before you take the trade because of something like this where you have key levels like below but you don't want to miss the trade, you can take a smaller size here. And if they happen to bounce from there, at least you're in the trade and you got the move. But if they go lower than your initial, that initial zone you were looking at, and you can add on here, great. And maybe they bounce from there, and then you still got, like a partial position in that move. And then if they come to like your last level, you can add like the rest to be at like a full position that you would normally take with the same stop loss. And then, hopefully at that point they do bounce and give you the move. But at least this way you have skin in the game if they don't give you this. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
I've tried scaling it before and decided not to do it anymore.
I mean, to
Always
each
end
their
up-
own.
Yeah.
But again, like something like this where you have like a 12-point range, there's a good chance you just might miss the trade, or you might get stopped out because, the alternative is just take a small position here at this side and not scale in and then have like a wider stop loss because you have like a really small position and that there's a chance that they might go all the way down to here before they bounce, right? Either works. So either scale into the position or just take a smaller size. That way you can have a larger stop loss because that there's this big zone, that they might go to the far side of.
Gotcha.
So,
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. I'm trying to see. I don't know. I'm still looking for like a nice. I think maybe the next time I see one, like I'll just grab a screenshot and show you guys like on the next session. Because single prints are just pretty deadly to trade off of when they give it to you. I mean, here, this is single prints. Right? I'm on 30
It looks to be
minutes
about
still.
midpoint, actually.
What's that?
That one? Yeah. That one looks to be almost about midpoint.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
It is a little bit above. So like this one, I mean, this is sexy. The only issue is,
End of day.
yeah, you wouldn't have. I mean, you still would have got a little move, but you would be forced to close the trade um, because the day ended. But you still would have caught a decent move. I think it doesn't look like much because I'm zoomed out, but like,
No, I think you would hit the September high. Yeah.
yeah, 23 points.
I don't know.
Like if you're just
You've got a bit
closing.
lower. Oh,
I mean, if you
I
were
see.
planning on closing here, you're good. This is 33 points. Um, but if you're closing because they're forcing you to at the end of the day, like you're still at 23 points. So it's not a bad trade.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, single prints just absolutely slap when.
Agreed. Thank you for taking your time there.
Yeah, no worries. Anybody else have a question before I call it a day here?
You got a few in chat, actually.
I was trying to ignore them.
Oh, my bad. You don't have
I'm
any questions in
joking.
chat. Sorry.
Let's see. Yeah, Emily, that's definitely going to be like a looking left thing. But also, adding in like footprints and order flow will help you get an idea of where they're heading. JA. So, based on what Shorty's taught me and based on that, I tend to use VWAP only as a place to potentially close trades. I don't use it as a place to enter trades. And that's just because Shorty says, like, like a lot of times, if we're below VWAP, it will act as like a strong resistance. If we're above it, it will act as a strong support. But, a lot of times they just slice through it and don't give a crap, every once in a while you'll see that boom move. But if you look at it like over time, it works less than it does work. So I don't think this is like a high confluence trade that I would want to be taking. I like your exit, the previous day VPOC. But yeah, and then your stop loss. 3 point. I would have gone a little bit higher personally, but that's me. You're pretty much even with this wick right here, and you want to give them room in case they come back to there and then sell off. So really my only critique, again, just a little bit more space, like based on this wick right here, but that could just be a personal preference thing. But I don't use VWAP as a place to enter trades. I use it as a place to potentially close them, but not to enter. Yeah. All right. So next week we'll do a little bit more teaching and education. We'll start going over footprints more. And we'll try to review some charts or some trades. We're not going to be doing like all of it, or I mean, depending on how many people post trades. But yeah, probably going to be focusing a little bit more on footprints and order flow. Okay. Yeah, good session. We're like right at 2 hours. I like to try to keep these like closer, to an hour, hour and a half. But with us starting earlier today, it was okay to run a little bit longer. But I want them to be like easy to digest little chunks where it's not information overload. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to kill the YouTube video now because I don't have anything else to say of importance.